Divine greetings and gratitude, my Saiyonan tribe. If you are new here, welcome. My name is Nuna. I am the seer, the poet, the writer, the witch, the sage, and the wise woman of the Saiyonan archives. Welcome to your new spiritual safe haven. And if you are returning, hello tribe. Welcome back to our spiritual space. I'm always honored, excited, and elated to be in your presence. We are going to be doing a quick reading and energy read on our YouTube channel as well as on the Saiyonan Archives podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm really happy and excited to be here with you. And I really wanted to go ahead and get into this reading because there were these feelings that I had that were coming up. And I know that for a lot of us collectively, we are, well, not everybody, but some of us are definitely going through the same things and whatnot. So I'm here to give you guys any messages that you may need to hear at the moment. Thank you so much for deciding to subscribe to the YouTube channel, of course, and also follow the show here on whether you're listening on Spotify or on Apple Podcasts or wherever you're listening. Thank you so much for choosing to join our Saiyonan tribe. I appreciate all the love and support and things of that nature. So yes, let's go ahead and get into the reading. The deck that I'm going to be working with today, or that we are going to be working with, is Tarot of the Divine, as you can see here on YouTube. I felt like I really wanted to choose this deck because it really does point me to, or give me the vibe of hopes, wishes, dreams, this ethereal kind of energy, storytelling and things like that. And that's the reason why I felt that using this deck was actually very fitting, especially for right now. Now, I already did not a full breakdown of the chart for each rising sign and things like that. I did do, however, a video on some messages that came through regarding the lunar eclipse full moon that we're having in Pisces, happening during Virgo season. It's going to be September 7th, I believe, at around 2:10 p.m. I actually took the time to look at each of the rising signs, well, majority of them. And I'm actually going to be looking into giving some downloaded messages and whatnot for each of the rising signs. So I'm going to be doing that. I'm not sure if I'm going to be doing it on the podcast yet, but I might, because I want to make sure that we get into the habit of constantly uploading and things like that so that we can get ourselves, into the algorithm and things like that. So let's go ahead and see here. So the first cards that we have coming out are, we have the King of Pentacles, we have the Page of Wands, we have the Three of Cups, and the Six of Wands. Oh, wow. And then we have the Empress card that's deciding to just jump out, which I definitely am here for that. So there's an emphasis on the Empress energy going on here. I just heard being the center of attention for some people. We have the Five of Cups in reverse. We have the Two of Wands showing up here. We have the Six of Cups showing up. We also have the Six of Swords showing up in reverse. And let's see what else comes through. For the moment, we have the High Priestess reverse, and then we also have the Ace of Cups. Those were the cards that we have showing up right now. So I feel like this is one of those things where you're going to have to, like, if you're wanting something, if you're wanting to manifest or work your magic during this time, first and foremost, let me just say this. I know that there are videos more than likely floating around the internet or on YouTube or whatever saying, don't manifest, don't do this, and don't do that. Like, sometimes that could definitely be for clickbait. Other times it's because that's the way that they feel, but it doesn't mean that that's the way that it should be. What I will say is that you yourself have to be able to follow your own intuition, follow your own vibes, and allow yourself to be open to the spaces and to the things that want to welcome you. And that's essentially what I see here, not only in the cards, but also in the energy, also in the charts and things like that. And I'm also going to be writing about that in some of my poetry. So a lot of my poems that I'm going to be writing for like the next however long is actually going to be stemming from this whole full moon happening in the sign of Pisces, this lunar eclipse, because this is definitely life-changing. It's one of those things where when you go into it, you can't come back out of it. Think of it at the vision that I'm getting, right? And I want you to think of it this way, is that the image that I'm seeing is that there's like this portal that's like open, and then you go through it and you look back and then the portal's closing, meaning that you can never go back to this entryway. The only way out, air quotations, out, is by going through it. But the thing is that even with you going through this portal and you not being able to return back to that entry point, it means that you've already completed everything that you needed to complete on the other side of what once was a portal, on what once was an entryway. And that's the energy that I'm getting. I'm also seeing someone go into a cave, and then the you know, back in like those movies where they would have like a cave or something like that, and then like it would close or something like that. I don't know, like this rolling door, like the rolling cave door or whatever, and that's what closes it. Except in this instance, I'm seeing, it looks like I am in first person looking at being in a cave. It's very dark, and then the only light was the light from outside, of course, and then there's this rock that's purposely being placed in front of the cave door. You cannot go back out this way. No one will ever open it. The only way you're going to get through this is by going through the darkness. That to me is also an indication of some people may not be able to see exactly where they're going right now. Some people may not know how to navigate these waters. Some people may not know how to navigate through the time that they're in right now, because there's so many things from the past coming up. And I want to say to you now that with the 5 of Cups being in reverse and with the 6 of Cups, this means that you yourself may be experiencing some type of unfavorable feelings that of things that happened in your past. It could be because of a breakup. It could be because of a death of a family member or a transitioning of a family member. It could be something that happened to you that you held close to your heart, that you yourself had a really hard time letting go of. And so you kind of find yourself in the midst of this darkness, not really knowing how to get out of it. But what Spirit is saying is that I really want you to detach all the way from that and know that you are not in the storm. You are only watching it pass. So think of it as like you're in the house, you're warm, you're cozy, you're around some hot cocoa, whatever, around a fireplace, and there's like a blizzard. Like I'm being drawn to a blizzard. There's a blizzard going on outside, and you have nothing to worry about because you yourself are surrounded by bricks and stone and whatever else that can withstand the pressures and the winds and the rage of this blizzard. And so you look and you just observe, and you can see it. You can feel what's going on. You can feel it energetically, but you're not necessarily being affected by it fully because you're not out in the blizzard. The reason why I feel like this is coming up now is because with this 5 of Cups coming up in reverse, it's one of those things where you are no longer in the blizzard. You are no longer in the storm. You are only seeing it pass by. The feelings that are coming up is the blizzard outside of you. You are no longer in that experience. And so even if your body starts to recognize or remember those feelings, it does not mean that those are the feelings that you have to subscribe to or even move with or even allow that to be your current reality. There are some things where some things that may be coming up as well is that you may find yourself in a space where you no longer can see yourself being supported by people that were in your past. And so as you transition out of this space, 6 of Swords in reverse here, as you let yourself move out of these spaces, out of this mental anguish, agony, whatever it may be, as you make the transition, it's one of those things where you say goodbye to everything that once came before and you're not looking back, because this is literally you walking through a portal. Well, not literally, but this is you walking through a portal, entering a portal. It feels like some of you guys are no longer going to be in the same circles, in the same spaces, in the same friend groups. And the reason why is because when you think about it, Pisces is 100% connected to friendships, groups. It connects to the collective. It's the collective energy. It's collective consciousness in a very spiritual, emotional, compassionate way. Also, I feel like it does also connect to our hopes and our wishes. So if there's something that you guys have been really hoping and wishing for, I do feel like that actually really would be a really good time for you to work your magic around that. And I say that because, again, I do feel like at that time, of course, with these things being exposed, you then start to see, okay, or revealed, you start to say, okay, this is something that I really did wish for at one point, but now that I'm evolving, I no longer want that. I do feel that when it comes to wishes, I feel like there is magic in that, and I don't want to take away the magic of the moment as it pertains to wishes. But I'm going to approach this real quick with just more of a rational or logical, air quotations, point of view. And then I'm going to get back to the magical aspect of it, because at this point, y'all know how my mind works. I like to think of things, sometimes in a very rational and, logical way. And then I like to go back into the intuitive aspect of things. So I feel like it's not even about you wishing for something. It's more so about the fact that you have these desires and you want them to be fulfilled. So let your will be done, because you are the one that has to put the work in. You are the one that has to call the shots on that. You are the one that has to allow yourself to evolve and to transform and to be in a space where you can receive that. That's the reason why we have the Empress here. She's open to receiving. She's open to doing the work. She's open to connecting. She's open to the earth. She's open to these resources. She knows this. And so it also comes with this idea of you not forcing it to be this way, because that's just the way that you really, really, really want it to be. Sometimes I do feel like when we say things like, oh, I wish this happened, it kind of puts some people into a very submissive and a victimized kind of standpoint at times, not all the time, right? Not for everybody, but some people think, oh, I just wish that I had this, but I don't because of this, and that. And it's like, why are you victimizing yourself? Why are you saying that you wish for it to be that way? You're saying that you have no control over the things that you do. No, you do. And so you have to remember that you are empowered to do what you must do in order to make these things a reality if you're in alignment with it. So there's that. But going back into the more, magical aspect of it, or the intuitive aspect, when it comes to wishes, it's one of those things where you're saying, I am open, I am loving, I want this with my whole heart, but not in a way where I'm forcing it, but the way that a child says, oh, mommy, I wish that I had a hot pocket, or I don't know, or I wish I had this Barbie doll, I wish I had this. It's this childlike, innocent-like aspect to wishes, where when you open yourself up the way that a child would to their parent, to the universe, and whatever it is, it opens itself up so much, because it has this really strong divine connection to spirit, to the ethers, to the mental realm. And not only that, it's this magical experience that these babies have, right? Because they're so close to God, where their wishes are fulfilled, because they don't want it to be real so badly to the point where they force it away or they suck the life out of it. They say, I really, really want this. And then a part of them says, you know what, I'm going to get this. I know that something's going to happen. I don't know exactly what, but I know that it's real. It's going to happen. I know that I'm going to receive this. And so it's this wonder of the world that they're in that allows them to even receive it. So there's something about you approaching whatever it is that you want the way that a child would, so that you can receive that. And that's the message that I really do feel coming through now. And the fact that we have the Page of Wands here, it does connect to innocence. We also have the Two of Wands. I feel like it's one of those things where we ourselves, we may have a plan, we may see it, right? We may want to get into it, we may want to start this journey, but I do also feel like we're not going to see everything, but what we can do and what we can see is what we can do. And I feel like that's what Spirit is reminding us of as well. The Two of Wands is the card that always points me to active envisioning, right? Or like actively seeing something come to fruition. It's like you have everything in your hands. Obviously, you have the world in your hands. You have all of these ideas. You have this fire, this burning, and you feel it. And you are looking and gazing out into the universe saying, I can see myself doing this. I can see this playing out. It's the card of active visioning, because once you see it, you then start to act on it. And eventually it's going to come to fruition. There's some type of work that happens after the envisioning part. And it's very fiery. It's very, again, passionate. It's very spiritual. It's movement. It is the eruptions, or not even just eruptions, but it's this moving of spirit in the most passionate way. It's when Spirit says, I'm here to be fully in love with this, to fully move and devote and immerse myself into this, but actively do something. And that's what I'm feeling And that's at least what I'm seeing with this. The King of Coins or the King of Pentacles is coming up as that support. It's coming up as the resources, as the one who masters through rigor, the one who masters through constant effort, the one that masters through trial and error. And Spirit is saying is like, I really want you to understand that as you show up for this space, I want you to keep at it. I want you to keep going. I want this to last for the long haul for you, because that's what you said you wanted. So this is one of those things where once you enter, there is no going back. And I feel like that was the mindset that this King of Pentacles had. I feel like with the King of Pentacles, it is this energy, this masculine energy of doing and constantly doing and researching and applying. This has everything to do with application. It has everything to do with perseverance. It has everything to do with you deciding to be committed, devoted, and pouring the love and the resources and whatever you can to ensure that this comes to fruition. Now, the fact that this is masculine energy, this makes me feel like you are not allowing yourself to stray away from your commitment. It's you are making a commitment and you are choosing to be devoted to this thing well beyond however long, right, linear time, I guess, if you wish to think of it that way, but well beyond what you can think or however long you think it'll last. It's not about how long you believe that it will last. It's about the fact that you're here to experience that and it will outlive you. That's all you have to worry about. And it's really, truly like nothing for you to even worry about. And that's another message coming up. It's like, you don't need to worry about anything. And I feel like that's, oh, wow, you have the Knight of Cups here. I love that for you. Okay. So anyway, I want to go ahead and kind of point to the fact that that's the reason why lavender has been coming through a lot recently. And of course it will, because whenever you're using lavender, you can definitely use it for wish granting in that instance, because I do feel like it does help you. Think about it this way. Lavender is ruled by Mercury. Mercury does in a way have this I want to say jovial, but like this youthful. I feel like youthful is better. It has this youthful energy to it, right? And Mercury deals with the mind. It deals with how we process information, the things that we think, our communication, style and things of that nature, especially depending on where Mercury is in the chart, right? If you have, let's just say, Mercury in Capricorn, you more than likely speak in a way that is very, not just eloquent, but very stern. You may be very serious in your approach. You may be very grounded in your speech. And you very well may be someone who's quick-witted or even has this, charisma that people may overlook. And you may even have like a very artistic way, but the way that you speak about it in a very serious manner, because Capricorn, being ruled by Saturn, can be very rigorous, it's ambitious, and it says, I'm going to speak to this and I'm going to ground myself, but I'm also going to make my thoughts and what I believe real. And that's, if you have Mercury in the sign of Capricorn. I'm just saying that because, yes. Anyway, so moving back to that, Mercury does have this very youthful essence to it. And whenever you think about lavender also connects us to hopes and wishes. If you sprinkle some under your pillow, and if you have a dream about your wishes, then more than likely they'll be granted. And yes, take it for what it is. You don't have to believe me. You guys can go read and research and whatnot. You guys can also work with lavender directly to see how lavender responds to you and how you respond to it, and develop that relationship with lavender. As you guys can see on YouTube, I actually do have lavender right here. The lighting may be a little weird and wonky. Let me check. Let me see. Okay, yeah. So if you're looking at this on the YouTube channel, then absolutely the lighting is a little bit weird right now. So anyway, there's lavender right here, fresh lavender. Well, not fresh lavender, but lavender on the whole, on the stem, and it's dried. I'm actually using that in the Pisces lunar eclipse oil that I'm going to be putting onto the website. I highly, highly, highly recommend that you guys go ahead and reserve. Let me see if I can show this on camera. Oh no, I'm not gonna be able to see it. Let me change the lighting situation. Give me 1 second. Okay, that's like the best that I can do for right now. You know what? I'm actually gonna take pictures of the oils and whatnot and put them on either our I'm definitely going to be putting them on at the Saiyonan path, and I may or may not do it at Magic of Eden. I'm not really sure yet. And I'll also take a picture and post them on YouTube as well, because, you know, YouTube has communities and stuff now. So I'll definitely be doing that. But I would highly recommend that you guys take a moment to reserve that oil, because I feel like it's definitely going to connect you to you having those dreams, those wants, those wishes fulfilled. But also it does help you to connect with the spiritual aspect of you, with you allowing yourself to be open enough to receive the visions, to receive the prophecies, to receive what you need to help you get these things going in your life. Because I feel like this is very life changing and things like that. So I've been called to really honor the power of lavender right now, and I'm going to continue to do that, of course. And there was something else that I was going to say, but I can't remember. Yeah, I cannot remember what I was going to say. Oh, yes. So there is one thing that I also wanted to mention as well. The fact that you do have the High Priestess up in here in reverse, I want you also to know that you don't have to go against what you feel. If anything, this is what is awakening within you right now. I feel like the High Priestess has been kind of humming in the background for whatever reason. And what's also coming through actually is what Spirit is saying is that you don't have to tell everybody what you're doing, everybody what you want. That is between you. That is between you and God, and perhaps you, God, and your practitioner or whoever else. But you don't need to, you know, what you do behind the scenes, the way that you work in magic should not, you know, be, not everybody needs to put their hands on it. So there's some things that you do want to keep private. I do also see some things coming through about you enhancing your intuition and your gifts expanding. I don't know why I'm reading it that way with the High Priestess in reverse, but I'm going to honor my intuition and say that some of you guys are entering into a space in your life where your gifts are expanding, and I mean very loudly. And I feel that this is essential because with the life that we're in now, right, the old world is no longer here. Like, we have exited out of that world. Everything has drastically changed. Life has changed as we know it. The way that people work their magic is not this, you know, may not even be the same, right? Some people find themselves stepping away from magic. I feel like you're diving deeper into it, because the more that you discover about this world, about this universe, the more that scientists come out and say the things that they've been saying, all it does is prove the fact that you've been doing what you've been needing to do, and the world is catching up to it, and the world is finally understanding the power, right? Maybe not to its full capacity, but they're understanding the power of your intuition, the power of your magic. And now they're trying to do it where they're trying to use, you know, words and equations and things to either disprove, right, what they can't measure, or even prove, you know, whatever they feel that they can. But anyway, that's another topic. I'm not going to talk about that right now because I really don't feel like that's that important. But anyway, yes, I do feel like this is one of those journeys where it's definitely not going to, it's not one of those things that you can expect for it to just kind of dwindle away. What you can, though, expect is that this is a long-lasting journey. This is something that you guys have been wanting for a very long time. And I'm seeing that there was a heavy past. Spirit, can you please speak to me more about this Five of Cups in reverse? What is it that they're healing from? Because I feel like this is something that someone is healing from, and you got the Tower card. Oh my goodness. Okay. That's so funny. Tarot will be like, okay, you want to know what you're healing from? You're healing from this. You're healing from chaos. Okay, but like what chaos? That's so funny. And then the chaos they're talking about, we have the Strength card. That is so funny. But I'm happy to see it, though. I'm happy to see that. So essentially what I'm seeing with this Five of Cups in reverse here, the fact that you got the Tower, Strength, and the Sun, this lets me know that this, I just heard like the overcoming. It's the overcoming of a very tumultuous, toxic, very deeply wounding past. You could have dealt with people who were abusers. You could have dealt with people who, I don't know why the word is catastrophe. That word has been coming through a lot recently. Catastrophe has just really just been, you know, just keep coming through. Even when I did a channel, I did a channel last night, and it was something about that was coming through. But anyway, so yes, you're definitely learning how to overcome destruction and how to use that energy, the destruction, to favor you, if that makes sense. The fact that you have the Strength of the Sun here, you have the Strength of the Sun empowering you. You have the Strength of the Sun nurturing you. And I feel like it's you knowing and setting your eyes on the sun that is allowing you to overcome. I want you to look in your birth chart and look at where your sun is, and wherever your sun is, that's where you are that's where you're going to shine the brightest. And that's where your strength is lying right now. Look to the sun in your birth chart, because that's going to be a key as to where you're going to shine. And also it's going to but it's going to reveal how you deliver your messages, or how you move throughout this reality as you're giving the antidote, as you're giving the medicine. So if your sun is, let's just say, in the 9th house, right? I'm just going to use my own as an example. Then that basically means that you will shine when it comes to learning, teaching, writing, speaking, publishing, and things like that. Sharing information, using life wisdom to understand things from a higher consciousness, right? You're here to expand your consciousness when it comes to some things. You're here to share your beliefs and learn from other people's beliefs and things of that nature. If you have the sun, let's just say, in the 10th house, then more than likely where you're going to shine is out in the public, out in public, right? When it comes to your career, you're going to more than likely receive a lot of wisdom, feedback, and admiration possibly in that sector. It also depends on who's ruling that aspect of your chart, right? If you have the sun in the 11th house, then more than likely, then that's someone where you are more than likely going to shine in front of large groups and, and organizations and people. But whenever it comes to the 11th house, though, I do feel that that's where you shine. And when it comes to groups and people, this is where you get a lot of attention. You bring people together in the community. You bring people together, your friends, right? Like your friends may see you, right? You may have a very strong network of friends out there in the world, right? The internet is your friend, right? And so it just really kind of depends on, where it is. So anyway, I just wanted to kind of give that. And that's just kind of really what I see right now. Like, I am not receiving anything else per se at the moment, but what I do want to say is that I want to empower you to speak to God about the things that you need. Speak to God about the things that you wish for, that you hope for. Speak to God about the things that you wish to see happening in your life, because when you focus your intention on that, that's exactly what's going to manifest. The Magician card is not here. However, I do feel the Magician's energy, and I don't need to see that card to, validate what I feel coming through my intuition. I do feel like the last few cards that we have coming out, and we're gonna let this be what it is. You have the Fool card is also here, so, and the Seven of Swords. So this basically makes me feel like it's one of those things where you just don't want to rush it. And it's this inevitable thing. Some of you may be resisting moving into this space. You're trying to get away from it. You're avoiding it. But it's no longer anything you can avoid, because no matter which way you go, you're going to find yourself in this space, period. The reason why I'm laughing a little bit is because I'm getting this vision of someone who keeps trying to go. Okay, you know how in those movies, right, where you would go, or someone would go through this one entryway, and then, they end up being right back at the same spot. That's the vision that I'm getting. It's like someone's going through this hole, and they're thinking that they're gonna end up in a different space, but no matter which hole they go through, they always end up right back at that same space, right there. And it's not until you fully accept where you are going and accept the fact that this is the path, where, okay, you walk it, you run it, you do whatever, and then that's where you're going to get to whatever this ultimate, destination is. I know that we say, okay, well, it's not about the destination, it's about the journey. I definitely know that. I definitely feel that. I also do feel like all of our destinations are ultimately the same, because we're all going back to the stars. However, there are some destinations or pit stops that are going to be very vastly different from someone else's. So your pit stop or your destination here on Earth, while you're still here, may not be the same as someone else's. So as long as you are keeping yourself in alignment with wherever you see yourself going, then I feel like you are going to get exactly what you wish for, but also more. I also want you to, that's another thing too, real quick. Thank you guys so much on the podcast for listening this far. And thank you so much for you on YouTube looking and listening and tuning into this video so far. You want to be careful with what you wish for, because sometimes when you wish for things and when you really want them, it also comes with some kind of sacrifice, or sometimes it will come with some type of unfavorable energy depending on what you are wanting and wishing for. You just have to use your discernment. You have to use your discernment. Okay, a quick example. I set my intention, right, for, being known out in the world and things of that nature. I set my intention on people, appreciate loving, what I bring to them, and that I have a community, that I'm serving the collective, that I'm writing my poetry, I'm performing my poetry and things of that nature. Like, I set my intention for things like that. And I also did set my intention on other things that I really don't want to fully mention right now. Well, what came with that? Well, now people are saying things. Now people are revealing their true feelings about what they feel about my craft, and people are, saying things that I never would have thought that they would have, felt, especially in regards to my husband passing and things like that. Like, there's so many things that are surfacing now, but that's what comes with the territory. So if you're not willing to not deal with, but if you're not willing to allow those unfavorable things to come up, then how can you even truly receive or even be in the energy of the favorable? So you have to be careful with what you wish for, what you set your intention for, because if you're not ready to deal with whatever comes with that, then you really want to ask yourself, do I really want this? Am I willing to go through the thorns? Am I willing to go through the thorn bush, or am I willing to even approach it at all? Right? And sometimes you don't even have to go through the thorn bush. You can just simply say, Spirit, show me a different way. Show me a way that is less harmful to me. Show me a way that is less rigorous for me, so that I don't feel tired out. Show me the way so that I don't feel like I'm constantly in a space of strife, right? You can always do that. But then there are some spaces or some things where you just have to, you encounter the suffering. Now it's a choice. Do you tune into that? Do you attach yourself to that? Or do you allow it to be what it is, detach from it, and still hold your heart in a space that welcomes you? And that's exactly what I feel like Spirit is saying. You really want to be in spaces that welcome you to end it all. Okay? Yes, I do feel like I see some of you guys showing up for your community. I do see you guys aligning with better, with, I don't want to say better, but more favorable partnerships. I see you guys really joining a community of people, leading a community of people. This leadership, this is divine feminine leadership, fully devoted, not wavering away from the path and whatnot. I see you giving your whole heart to this. I see you pouring your whole heart out. I see all of that. Anyway, yes, I just want you guys to know that these are the messages coming through right now. I'm gonna go ahead and get started with the editing process again, so that I can, just upload the video, also upload the podcast episode, because of course I'm super excited for that. And absolutely, it's always a pleasure to be in your presence. It's always a pleasure to serve you. It's always a pleasure to just be in your space and, just kind of vibe off of each other. And yeah, it's just always a pleasure and an honor, of course. So I'm going to relax. I'm going to eat something for a little bit, and then I'm going to do a workout. And after that, I'm going to sit with Spirit and probably write some poetry and get back to the book that I'm writing and things like that, because I do have to get back at it. I got to look at these poems. I got to figure out the way that I want the vibe to be. And also, I wanted to share this with y'all because why not? Y'all are my soul tribe and I love y'all, so I'm going to share with you. So I feel like when it comes to my vibration, when it comes to, the book, when it comes to the things that I'm going to, incorporate as far as like an aesthetic, as far as like a style, I'm going to adopt the butterfly. And I'm actually going to be adopting a very specific butterfly as a part of, my whole thing. I know that some people really love bees, and that's cute. That's great. There's lots of popularity amongst the bees and things like that. So at first I was kind of thinking, do I want this to be a dragonfly? Because dragonflies are coming through, but something was just like, no. You think it's going to be a dragonfly because it, it has a lot to do with your Sag moon, but that's not it. And so I sat with it for a while. I don't know how long it was that I sat with it, but anyway, it felt like a long time. So anyways, I ended up landing on the butterfly, and I was like, well, can't this be cliche? And then something was just like, don't worry about that. Just just do with what you vibe with, right? Like, just follow your intuition. What does your intuition say? And for whatever reason, I landed on the blue butterfly. I can't remember the exact name of that butterfly in particular, but I'm gonna get more into that later. So anyway, yes, that's exactly what we're gonna do. I feel like it's a vibe for me. It definitely is a vibe for me, because so many people focus on people's beauty and their outer appearance and things like that. But it's like, what about the journey? Like, it's taken me so long, right? I've been flying and flying and flying, and all you can think about is how I look. Like, you're focused more on the procretude than you are on the actual journey, and like, that's not really a connection. What about the journey? Look at how far I've had to go, and life is just a moment. So even with me constantly making, flying and things like that to get to this space, eventually I'm no longer even going to be here. So I don't only want to be known for that. I want to be known for who I am, and I want my journey to be known. I want my journey to be recognized. I want it to be honored, and I want to leave a long-lasting imprint on this world. And like, that's the vibe that the butterfly gives me. That's the animal that keeps coming to me. That's the insect. So I'm just gonna go with it. And it's moments like this where, even if you feel that things are cliche, even if you feel like you shouldn't do these things, right? Or even if you feel like it may not make sense on paper, so what? Right? It may not make sense on paper, but it doesn't mean that it doesn't make sense. It just means that your logic needs to expand. That's all. But anyways, yes, that's what I see. I see a lot of success. I see a lot of love. I see a lot of things like that. I do see a lot of prosperity, of course. Your spirit animal may be the bee, or you may be adopting bee-like energy right now. Who knows? Anyway, if y'all need anything from me, please feel free to visit me online over at theSaiyonanPath.org. Again, when you guys look online, I will have had the oils up there, of course. I am actually going to get started on that now before I eat, because I don't want to end up forgetting and whatnot. So yeah, just give me like an hour or two, and I'm going to make sure that it's uploaded up there. Yes, and also if you guys wish to, you can follow along with me on Instagram over at the Saiyonan Path and over at Magic of Eden. More than likely, you're going to see me more over at the Saiyonan Path. So you guys really do want to go over there. That's where I'm going to have poetry. That's where I'm going to have, I'm going to start performing my poetry for Instagram and things like that. I'm getting ready for that. I'm kind of excited, kind of nervous, and I'm just kind of letting it be what it is. I'm getting out the cringiness already. Anyways, yes, thank you guys so much for reserving your Saiyonan Essentials. Thank you so much for also considering being a part of the Saiyonan Circle. I do have a subscription. Well, I don't want to call it that, but I do offer a monthly devotion where you can devote yourself to, where I have a monthly offering. Now you can devote yourself to each month with a set donation of $10. And with that comes constantly me doing readings and things like that, and sharing information with you that I won't share with the public. That's a plus. I really would recommend that you guys look into that. I also have other devotions that you can devote. I also have other offerings that you can devote yourself to each and every month. They will be linked down in the description box, and also for you guys on YouTube, they are going to be linked down in the comment section. Thank you all so very much for spending time with me here today. It has been a blast. It's been a pleasure. I love y'all, and I'll catch you in my next video.